Hey Marco, let's have AI do our project.
That's a great idea. Let's do that with customer.
Yeah, I have a customer in mind, ISS.
And let's have actually a real team.
Yeah, and let's give them all the AI tools they want to have.
That's what we're gonna do.
That will be interesting.
Maybe it's kind of simple question. It's, at the same time, it's really wide question. It's about what does this all mean? And now, in our context, the starting point could be like the actual change that we've seen now in the teamwork and the way that we collaborate together with the AI and the team.
Yeah, it's been, I guess it's been different. We started like collecting information from tools and try out new tools and test out them and make a list that you should use these ones and these ones are not good, these ones are good. But now we have ended up of talking psychology and like team structures and ways of working. What happened?
It seems that at some point, I actually kind of remember even the kind of initial conversation when we kind of, and I felt that even I somewhat probably initiated that talk, but at the same time I felt that kind of everybody kind of straight kind of felt the same, that yeah, that's the thing. It's not the tools, not the individual productivity gains, or is it good or bad?
Yeah.
And we all understand that this is very early, so the tools will actually evolve, and probably some of them will be disrupted even.
But yeah, for many it has been like simple thing, but it's like that tell us your favorite tool, but it's like people have been using GitHub Copilot for over a year now. Mm-hmm. It's familiar to everyone. People have been using ChatGPT. Everyone in the world knows what it is. But it's like what we are saying, that it's not the tools, it's how you use them. And then the basic models of like ways of working, which means that in the AI-based world, as you have powerful tools, as you are able to outsource many of tasks you are doing, it's like, are your days the same as before?
I also felt that we were close to going to the kind of process kind of track, that you could like, what's the ideal process? Mm-hmm. But I feel that somewhat that the actual teamwork is messier than that. It's not like step 1, 2, 3 and suddenly you get like result. It's more like a everything together type of approach that we've taken.
Just doing things, and it's like we started off having like agile kind of like thing where we were having sprints and we were having dailies and review meetings and so on. But suddenly we noticed that we are going so much faster that are they really like necessary? So it's like if you are able to like comprehend and understand the documentation in half an hour, and it's like if you are able to like do a sprint in 15 minutes, for what you do actually need the old-fashioned ways of doing things. So it's like, in a way, this is kind of like, to me, it looks a little bit like Agile, or not even a little, but quite much like Agile. It's like we have a bunch of people, we have not hard-coded roles, but all people are participating and they are like doing things, and people are like doing what they can and exploring new ways of things, but it's like there are no hats, no roles as such. Everyone is doing.
That's really interesting. That and at the same time we are still like individuals. Mm-hmm. It's not that we are the same. So we are having I think you could even say that we have basically 2 roles. There may be some variations, but eventually it's about 2 roles. So we have a role that we call driver, mm-hmm. who is driving, who is basically using the computer, and we only have one computer, which is really interesting We probably discuss a bit more that why is that, but we have a driver who uses the computer, and then we have navigators who basically help the driver to navigate through the problem solving, through the options and thinking of different options and going about it. And then we rotate this every 15 minutes. If we choose to. I mean, we can, of course, the same driver can continue, but typically actually prefer to change the driver.
So is it like when we were kids and we were using our Commodore 64s or Amigas or whatever, one was sitting and other ones were like telling what to do?
Actually, it reminds like, those puzzle games or something, and everybody like, how can we move forward?
Yeah, and everybody was having fun.
Actually, yeah, that also, and sometimes you were like, you were trying to give an advice, and then the other person who was sitting with the computer wasn't kind of getting it, and like, okay, let me show,
let me try this.
Yeah, and actually that's what happens in our team as well.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that, and it's a good thing because then everyone is like concentrating on the same thing, and it's like everyone is able to input on what they are to give. Somebody who is like, for example, if we are doing software development, not all are superstar programmers, but somebody is understanding something else, and they are saying that, okay, should you take this into account? And then like we are constantly going back and forth, and there's like 100% concentration on what we are doing.
Yeah, and that's why because it's so intensive. The experience that we had is that we are having like those 3 of those rotations, and typically like, okay, let's cut it off. Like let's have 50 minutes of not doing that work, because everybody's so engaged, and it's of course it's fun. It's also sometimes quite consuming because you are so into it.
Yeah. Again, I have flashbacks to childhood. It's like, isn't it like elementary school? You have 45-minute like study hours, and then you have 15 minutes of recess.
Right, and then you go back. Yeah.
And remember how productive we were during that 45 minutes when we were kids. We were able to like achieve anything.
yeah, almost. And also like, actually, the aspect of the school is that we all learn. Because none of us, especially when we are working with AI, we don't actually know how to use the AI best at any given situation. We are actually learning by doing these type of short cycles, and it's collective learning. It's not that you learn yourself and then tomorrow you will explain me what you did, and I was like, I don't kind of get what you actually did, and I might ask you, please show me like next time we see and all that. But actually, there it happens all the time. Everything is. And it also means that the mistakes are very, very visible.
Yeah, but it's okay, because now that we are able to iterate fast, we are able to make things fast, the mistakes are not that bad. We just fall back. We have lost maybe 15 minutes, but that's all right. We learned something new. Let's try the same thing in some other way.
Yeah, and that actually brings me to the memory that we had when we discussed actually with Joe, who has been working in Tesla and SpaceX, which are probably quite different cultures than maybe Solita or Finland and then in the States. The working culture might be quite different, but they had this revelation in a way that when we asked that what's the number one thing that you need to get right in order to work in this way, that you come together, you work on single computer, whole team, everybody doing kind of hard problem solving, knowledge work. And he said that it's the number one thing that you need to improve on is psychological safety.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's like you are being part of a larger team, and it's like you are not being judged. And isn't it like, even though you are not experienced programmer, but still you can be a driver. You can go to keyboard and start doing things, and it's like others are like guiding you and giving you information. And if you are not like developing great new software, maybe you are doing something else during that 15 minutes.
Yeah, and actually the driver gets to decide. It's, I think it's really empowering. So even there's like probably more experienced people around you, or you may disagree something. As you're driving, you get to decide, and others are truly like just giving you advice that you don't need to actually take. You can disagree or so and try out something else, which gives you kind of the freedom of, and since it's accepted, everybody knows that that's one of the rules. So so we respect that, even we might disagree. And I remember we had this one occasion where we had like, we saw multiple options that we could take, that we could start from the data, or we could start from the user interface, or we could start from the middle, like, okay, what are the requirements and how to formulate them in such a way that it's bite-sized and we could work on those. And I remember we decided that we have a like everybody drives session, that everybody takes their laptop. It's okay, you don't leave the room, but you work in the room, and you take AI assistants and you figure out whatever is the way that you feel that might work.
Absolutely. And because AI is present all the time, you are able to use assistants like that. For example, asking AI what to do next, or come up with like routes forward. Even though we are doing the sessions with humans, AI is always there, and you are powerfully using those opportunities provided by it. So you have background information. You are not spending the next hour for hunting some piece of information, or saying that, okay, because we don't have data models, we cannot do anything else. We can just ask AI, give us data model. And we start working with that. It's not perfect. It doesn't matter. We're starting from somewhere.
Yeah, it gives you like great feeling of progress. And many times that's not just feeling, you actually get something. It's which I think that we have one of the other rules that we have in the team is that you for the 15-minute rotation, it's the time box or success. And I feel that it's very important that the driver gets the success, meaning that something gets done, or maybe we get evidence that it didn't work. It's also a success that, okay, now we know.
Yeah, and the successes are relatively small, but it means that, okay, for the first 15 minutes, success was that we found a way of doing things. Next 15 minutes, we got a preliminary data model. For the next 15 minutes, we got some IE prototypes. But this is only 45 minutes, and we have already been doing huge things. And it's like when you are going forward bit by bit, as you are having 20 sprints a day, and each sprint is bringing us a little bit forward. It's like we are having lots of progress.
Yeah, and the other thing that I realized when we were doing that is that we don't need to have a meeting about it, because everybody knows where we are at, because everybody was involved, and you don't need to kind of second guess that, okay, so how did you guys came up with that solution? Because you were there in the room understanding that and seeing that in front of your eyes happening, and you were empowered to actually say your opinion about it at the same time.
Everyone's dream, less documentation, more working.
Yeah. And it was also, especially when we did this with client, I remember the client was asking, in the end of the day, he was asking that, was I producing kind of enough, or was I, asking, I can't recall the exact wording, but he was wondering if he provided value to the team. And I was thinking later that why he's saying that, and I was thinking that maybe it was in the old world, it was like you are invited to a workshop where you are asked tons of questions, and you need to kind of, everybody's like looking at you.
It's like a huge thing. So it's a little bit like writing social media, posting to Twitter versus writing a big blog post or a newspaper article or TED talk.
Yeah.
It's like you are doing smaller things but more, and then you are like giving only information more. So it's like a low hurdle of participating. And of course, the client who was there, they were like giving lots of valuable information.
Absolutely.
And if they didn't understand it themselves, but they afterwards, I guess they started to realize that, okay, I was affecting quite a lot of like how this was going to forward. But it was like there was no huge presentation from them or anything like that.
Yeah,
it was participating.
Absolutely, and I also think that, and one thing that we counted later on, that basically the client theoretically did like 500 decisions, or if he would use the same time than sprints typically, we would get like 500 times more decisions made. Yeah. But they were small decisions, but very crucial and right time, in the right moment, in the right context, and nothing more. Yeah. Because of course the thinking is that we would continue like so, and we would get all the information when we need it at the time when it's needed. Not like, okay, give us everything and we go to this cave for a couple of weeks and then we come back with the right response.
Yeah, it's much faster decision process, and it's like the client who was like having access to their own AI and their own documentation, and they had like inside information for things we were doing. They were instantly able to produce us like opinions on the product model, saying that, okay, you are now missing this kind of thing. Oh yes, we are, but let's add it. Okay, now it's there.
Yeah, I saw the kind of surprise that it was so instant as well. Like everybody was like, oh, it's actually there. It just happened in front of our eyes. If we kind of take a step back from all this that we are describing, so what does it mean for maybe I would like to hear from your thoughts about what does it mean for knowledge work? Because I think this is, we've done software development, but you could actually do many things like so together as a team, AI assisted in very collaborative manner.
I always think that it's like AI feels like it's kind of like superpower. So it's like kind of like second brain for people who have bad memory like me. This is a godsend. So I'm able to remember things much better. I am able to organize them much better, and like having knowledge available from many different sources. And it's kind of like exoskeleton. It's like in the film Aliens, you have like this powerful exoskeleton. But this is like the mental exoskeleton for me. And for knowledge work, it means that when people have like individual access of these kinds of things, of course it requires the background information. It's like we are not throwing all the documentation away, but like utilizing it. It's becoming a much different.
Yeah, and I was thinking that and we are thinking of experimenting other areas than software development with similar way of working together in kind of multidisciplinary setting, where you would have like, for instance, we could do like a client proposal so that the client is there. These are the things that I would like to see from you, and then you would create them in front of him or her with a multidisciplinary team, like saying that, would it be like something like this? And you are not expected to ship anything, just to like, okay, to find a shared understanding what good looks like. And rather than somebody like writing down, okay, these are things I would like, and please respond to this, and then you go to your cave and come back. It's very similar kind of problem to be solved together. I would see a lot of benefits compared to what is the current process of handling such things.
Yeah, and it's like you are totally part of it. Is it a bit like when you are designing your dream home with an architect, and you are with an architect and walking around in a space and showing pictures? This is a bit like what I want it to look like, an architect is drawing things and so on. So we are doing the same kind of thing. We are like doing in agile way and not having the technology between us, but instead of like doing what humans do, planning together.
Yeah, actually that's really good metaphor, that you could actually kind of build your dream house with the architect without actually yet it being there, but you could actually see it in front of your eyes. Here it is what it might look like. And of course then like going forward, that when it's kind of building up, you can actually see that, okay, this part is now here, and here's the next part, and this is what we are thinking.
And previously with the architect, you had clippings from like magazines and showing pictures. I want it look like something like this, right? And now it, I don't know the ways, but with the like clients, we could go through with like different kinds of prototypes and like visualizing the dreams and visualizing things that we want to have and share the understanding. So we would be even more understanding what the actual problem is, that what we are like solving, and like the client is like being able to communicate their wishes and like being able to iterate things, so that it's like if you are saying something now, it doesn't mean that okay, now we started doing and we can't go back, but instead we are able to like try the things out. A little bit like building Legos when we were kids. I have a nostalgia date.
Yeah, there's like a lot of metaphors. What about in the larger community? Like what does change? What does kind of change look like when we're looking at?
Yeah, is this kind of like revolution when Agile came and replaced waterfall? Is it like, is this the next level Agile, even more Agile than Agile?
Yeah. I when I'm kind of looking into the manifesto or the principles, we are actually implementing many of those, like best architecture emerge from teams, and everyday business and technology folks are discussing about there's like these kind of things, or individuals and interactions or processes and tools, which we are actually, if you kind of conclude what we have right now, is like, yeah, we are sitting in a circle with one computer and we are working together, and there's AI tools, assistants assisting us, and that's it. Like, it's not that kind of, at the same time, it's not that rocket science, but at the same time, the stuff that we are able to do with such a setting are actually quite amazing.
Yeah, it sounds too simple. Is it this easy?
Yeah, well, we'll see. I think we'll see that.
Yeah.
I think that many organizations, and I think that especially also when we are discussing with this about with ISS, who's a client here, is probably going to ask that, what does it mean that, okay, you've done like, there's a team of 7 people. In our company, it's 2,000 people. How would you scale this?
Yeah, but is it like, now that we are able to like build mundane things faster, does it give space to like go on the next level and have like those mundane things be building blocks for new things? Again, if we are talking about Lego, it's like now we are not like designing the simple Lego pieces from ground up. We are having pieces, and now we are able to start building structures out of them.
Right. And even we may have like even structures, and we may think of, okay, what's the purpose of the building, without thinking too much of the structures as such, because we already get those as well.
So next we have a Legoland.
Yeah, maybe so. And we can generate multiple of them. Like, okay, it could be like so, or it could be like so. So it's giving you options.
I think we haven't still like understood or even able to visualize where we are going. It's like we are still watching things from the ant perspective, but we are like trying to visualize the big things. It's like a little bit vague, but I feel it's coming there.
Yeah, I'm also like thinking that I feel a bit responsible of sharing this, what we've learned. I mean, sharing it externally and also internally. And I think that no matter how much we talk about it, people actually need to experience it themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is something you have to do yourself, because it sounds like it sounds like very simple, and you have doubts. It doesn't work in real life, and it might be. Of course, as we are doing the Twin project and we are experimenting things, and one of our things is that we also want to try out things that don't work.
Yeah, and we've tried some of those as well.
Yeah, but in this case, it's like, this looks so very promising and so very interesting that we are going forward with that. And now when we are recording this, it's like we are in halfway of the project, and we are going forward and new things are emerging. But it's like we're already feeling that this way of working is like much more powerful, much more speedy, and it's like we are using our time much more like in a good way. Of course, now that we are being turbocharged. Does it mean that we are able to do that during whole project, or does it mean that we are doing sprints and then we are maybe catching our breath and doing another sprint?
Or how does it go? Yeah, I think that that's something that we will see, and also I think that another thing that we haven't really tried out yet, but thing that I've been, for instance, thinking is that what if and when we have some dependency for some other party, let's say that we need something from somebody else who is not part of this whatever we are doing. I was thinking that there are probably a couple of different options. Like one that I would like to experiment is that a outsider who hasn't been part of whatever we've done so far is going to be part of our maybe a day of that our way of working and contribute the dependency whatever we need. Yes, and then see how that actually works. So it could be that instead of us like communicating that and waiting for that, people would come and go part of this type of setting, and then they would contribute, being navigator or driver, and contribute, and then go away, so that thing got resolved.
Yeah, have special visitors like information security specialists coming every now and then. Of course, they should be often there, but still coming in. Or testing specialists at some point when we are going towards testing, maybe graphical designers or whatever.
Yeah, and I feel that it would actually, it might be beneficial because we have juniors in our team and seniors on the team, and it's not that seniors are always driving and the juniors are just watching, being navigators or like silently there. Actually, everybody gets involved. Yes. And there are kind of patterns or strategies that you can take, like, okay, let's take let the junior drive in order to, first of all, he or she might have brilliant idea because he or she doesn't have the boundaries or constraints. He or she doesn't know those, which actually empowers him or her to do things differently. Absolutely. And the other reason is that it's also kind of a leveling up game that we all are capable of learning from each other. So when you're driving, you don't really know what you're actually about to do, then you really carefully listen to people around you, which are giving you the advice. So then you will actually level up your knowledge, and I've learned, like, on every session and every rotation, I've learned something new.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's talking about juniors and seniors, it's been very interesting to see that our first premise was that we started the Twin project with a team that we were collecting seniors and medias and juniors, and it was like our hypothesis was that, okay, do we make medias out of juniors and seniors out of medias and gurus out of seniors? It might be that as well. Everyone was leveling up, but the most important, there wasn't that much differences in the seniority level. Actually, the more detailed differences were on people's attitudes of like how eager you were like trying out new things, or were you a little bit careful at, okay, maybe I should like take it easy and maybe read some stuff before I go into the AI and so on. But it's and the other people were like, okay, let's start and like try out everything. And it's like people who were like most excited, they were able to proceed like really fast. And it like the eagerness is the most good mirror of success in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's like nowadays, of course, everyone in our team has found out that, okay, this really is something, and like being eager and trying out new things, that's one of the most important things.
Yeah, it actually also kind of lights up everyone, because if you see somebody like that person doesn't actually know what he's doing, but he still like tries really hard. It's like, okay, I can also try. I don't need to know. I mean, it's fine.
Absolutely, and you have the superpower. For example, I myself, whenever I feel stupid, I go ask from AI. Please explain to me, like 5-year-old, what is this? What is this thing called .NET or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. And I also feel that we are kind of touching maybe something that the change actually is going to be like from individual, because I see a lot of knowledge workers, even they are in some agile setting, they are actually mostly doing their own thing rather than sharing and collaborating and doing the teamwork like all the time, which is what we are talking about here. So it means that this might not be for everyone, or there might be kind of a shift for a lot of people to come into because this actually expects that you want to share information, you don't want to hide the information, you want to work in a team and do the teamwork, and you also want to collaborate a lot. So I think that I thought that we have shared a lot of information, but still it was like huge level of like how much we were sharing the information in these sessions compared to the sessions where we just were trying these tools individually and then sharing the results of using those tools.
What happens if you are an introvert? If you are not extrovert and enjoy group work, what happens there? What do you think?
I think that if you come to the Collab AI team and then you are going to be a navigator, you don't want to jump into the driver's seat, and you probably watch for, let's say, I would expect like 3 to 4 even rotations. You may, if you have some knowledge or you feel that you want to contribute, you may contribute like a couple of times or wait for let's say less hectic moment for express your opinions, or especially, or maybe on the rotation times you would actually say that I was thinking that you tried that, and maybe then you might give you input. So it means that in order to get those people involved, you need to be quite careful when you actually set these up the first time. You make sure that you kind of slow down a bit. If you experience this and you're like very eager to jump into that, I think you need to kind of hold your breath and let the people kind of adapt.
Yeah.
And take
so you can say that, okay, I don't follow. Please, please wait for me. So people can say that.
Yeah, and it's very important. And we actually did that mistake as well. I think that with our first time we went too fast, and we realized that.
Yeah.
Because we set up a rule that everybody is expected to speak up, that you don't either understand or you want to just slow down, because there's nothing bad in good slow thinking. This doesn't mean that everybody needs to think somehow.
Yeah, it's
very
like
fast.
it's not a world where you're just rushing out things and doing. There are times when you'll be fast, but then of course there will be times when you are doing high quality and thinking about things.
I like the saying that, I think it's from Special Forces or something, that slow is smooth and smooth is fast. So even you kind of take it very carefully, one step at a time, actually making that careful steps with very good intentions and very clear intentions. You actually move forward faster than just rushing on things and not even knowing what to do next. You actually have really good way of putting it, that what does happen, how AI assists us when we don't know where we are going.
Yep, that's true. So it's like everyone is like running about and not knowing what to do. AI is not able to help you there. You have to slow down, take your breath, and then be a human, be a navigator. Tell that, okay, this is where we are and this is where we are going to.
Yeah, one of the things that I really liked when we were discussing with Joe as well on this topic was that they have this 1,000-year goal, and they have this kind of single KPI for that. I felt that was really important, because whenever we were lost, I felt we went also back to the question, what are we trying to solve?
Yes.
And what does success look like?
Yeah, and what is your KPI that you are trying to solve? And really think, what is the thing in here? Yeah. Well said.